experienced any blackouts, stretches of time that you can't account for?
Yeah, you're gonna love this one. It's a scream, baby. Do not open this door. What's the matter with you people? I was joking. Don't you know it's a joke when you hear one?
Welcome back, everybody, to another Lost Log bonus episode. Today, we are going to be looking at another creepypasta. This one is a classic, and it very much, I think it reads like one. Like, you can tell that this is of its time. I think Ben Drowned came, so we're covering Ben Drowned. Spoilers. And I believe it came around, I want to say early 2000s or maybe mid 2000s. Okay, yeah, mid 2000s, start of the 2010s.
Probably, I mean, that's when most of these came out, right? You know
so
what I mean?
2010 is when 2010 to 2012 is the when it was coming out. I don't know. Ben Drowned has been one creepypasta that like is often praised for like sort of defining the genre, and like, you know, a lot of creepypastas will get their beats from this, and you can see it. We're like, oh, well, I've read another creepypasta, and it's like, it kind of makes sense. I see where there's, you know, almost all creepypastas are written from the perspective of like a character suffering it. But as I was reading this, I was reminded of the My Romantic Cabin Getaway, and I was like, oh, okay, I see the
Right,
whole,
yeah.
like personal narrative structure.
It's weird how we've evolved. I didn't really think about this, it's weird how, as a society, we've reached this point of, like, now we're looking back at, like, the early beginnings of, like, creepypastas, you know what I mean? And being like, you can really tell how these originals inspired, you know what I mean? It's, like, we're reading the Seven Samurai or whatever, you know, those the films that Tarantino loved the shit out of, and George Lucas loved the shit out of, and was like, I'm gonna make that, but in space. So this is that.
This is that
Congrats.
for us, yeah.
Yeah.
I did want to say, originally we wanted to do Polyabyss, the one about like the mysterious arcade game that showed up in, was it Portland or Seattle or one of those two? But we couldn't find it. So if anybody out there has the original, like the link to the original creepypasta, send it our way. We'd love to cover it at some point. I always remember reading that one and thinking that it was an interesting one. Before we start, I want to ask you, Mason, have you ever read Ben Drowned? Did you ever hear about it?
I've heard the name before, but I'm not really a creepypasta guy. I'll read. I don't mind if they're like a few paragraphs, but when they get real long, I'm like, I'll just go fucking read a book, man.
Or sometimes you're like,
I mean?
I always feel like for me, I was definitely not a creepypasta kid growing up, but I always like fucking ran into them because I was a big scaredy cat, and inevitably through iFunny or some other website like that, I'd run into it, and I would be like, oh no, and it'd be stuck in my head for a week. But for me, like nowadays, I will do the same thing where I come across it, and if it's super long, I'm like, I'll just watch a video on this, like a 10-minute video of somebody explaining the story. I'm like, I'll get the gist of it.
I went down a rabbit hole of Stairs in the Woods, which I think we talked about on.
I've come across it in like research into creepypastas, but I don't think we've talked about it.
So I went down Reddit had a whole thing or whatever, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and I saw that you just had a little floaty.
Yeah, what the fuck? I've seen like 3 of them. I'm like, my room is dusty as hell, I guess.
But anyway, so I went down that kind of rabbit hole, and I read a few of them, and I'm like, this is kind of interesting, because it's that kind of creepypasta that, like, it's probably not real, but it's, you know, it's just like firefighters and park rangers talking about coming across this shit, and then,
I have heard of this one, yeah.
But it culminated with, I was like, I'll watch the video, and then it was like an hour-long video of like, here's all the Reddit posts narrated, and I was like, I'm good, I'm gonna bounce out of this one, but... anyway, so I have not read Ben Drowned.
I'd heard about
I hear
it.
It's popular,
but I never read it.
We'll see. I'm gonna be read it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about creepypastas. They're very silly.
Yes, that's
Even
often
the
how
most
I feel.
serious ones
Even
are
the
so
ones that
silly.
draw me in, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of spooky. By the end of it, I'm like, oh, well, that was. I'm like,
Dumb.
okay, so they lost. Again, it's what we talked about with My Romantic Cabin Getaway, which, you know, again, credit to Felix Blackwell because he did something that either of us won't probably won't do. But
Right.
he, like, the thing I noticed with that one and with this one is, well, not spoilers for this one. Maybe or maybe I didn't notice it for this one. But other ones is that they have a good an idea, and they're getting you, and you're like, oh, okay. And then they just don't know how to wrap it up. And they're like,
Yeah.
I guess everybody lived happily ever after. And I'm like, no, you could just be like,
Right.
nah. And then they fucking died, or you know what I mean?
Especially with things like this that live in this ether where if it's got a sole content creator like the other one, it's like, oh, that was really popular. I should keep doing this.
Yeah.
But then it's like, you know, they didn't sit out and like write this whole thing, you know, at the beginning. They like were like, well, this was the ending, but then it's not the ending.
The ending,
This is
right,
the ending.
which is what-
and then it's like, oh, that was also super popular. Okay, well, this is the ending.
Which
then.
I think
And
this one got a
yeah.
sequel in 2020. Maybe we'll look at it at some point, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
But I'm excited. Yeah, let's read.
let's get into it.
Let's get into this scary marinari.
That's very good. I think the scariest part of today's reading is, I was telling Mason this as we got on, is Creepypasta, the website's layout. It still feels like it's from early 2004. I don't think they've updated at all.
No.
It's shit. So Creepypasta, if you're listening to this, the entity, get your shit together, because your website is ass.
I wouldn't offend Creepypasta. I mean, they own scary stories. I don't know. They might
that's
murder
true.
you. I don't
yeah,
know.
they might murder me. Yeah, that's all right. You can write a creepypasta about it, and then I don't know. Yeah.
We're gonna end up doing that. What was that fucking movie? Where they were all on a Zoom call together, and then they got murdered. It was a horror movie where everyone was on a
Yes.
Zoom. It was kind of it was a good premise for a short film that like
Yeah.
got a full theatrical release, and it's like, I don't know about this. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay. So yeah, I'm thinking we'll just switch off like we did with the other one.
yeah.
And in case that gets confusing, as it normally does with us too, this is all written from the perspective of the one person. I can't remember his name.
Ted.
It's Jaducible. It was his his
His
creepypasta
online name.
online. And then I think his real name was Alex something. Anyway, I'll start off with this little one, and yeah, here we go.
Do you know, sorry, not to put
yeah.
this off one more day, but what website did this originate on? Do you know?
I want to say, damn, I don't know. Either the Creepypasta website or Reddit, as they usually do.
Gotcha. Is it, well, because I see that he references /x/, which I'm guessing is the forum, but I don't know if that's like, I don't know if it's like 4chan or Reddit or Tumblr.
Right.
Is it a fourth website maybe?
Let's see.
That exists?
Okay, it was 4chan. It originated on 4chan's, /x/board.
Oh no.
Yeah. 4chan.
Red flag.
Red flag.
I don't know, whatever. 4chan's fine, I guess. I don't know. What the fuck? Who cares?
Who cares? Ben Drowned, Part 1, Day 4. Okay, /x/. I need your help with this. This is not copypasta.
It's creepypasta.
This is a long read, but I feel like my safety or well-being could very well depend on this. This is video game related, specifically Majora's Mask, and this is the creepiest shit that has ever happened to me in my entire life.
Having said that, I recently moved into my dorm, starting as a sophomore in college. Okay. I'm confused already because he's starting on day 4,
I thought
which
so.
is confusing.
Yeah.
And then he's also starting as so he must be moving into a new dorm as a sophomore. And a friend of mine gave me his old Nintendo 64 to play. I was stoked, to say the least. I could finally play all of those old games of my youth that I hadn't touched in at least a decade. His Nintendo 64 came with one yellow controller and a rather shoddy copy of Super Smash Bros. And while beggars can't be choosers, needless to say, it didn't take long until I became bored of beating up level 9 CPUs.
That weekend, I decided to drive around a few neighborhoods about 20 minutes or so off campus, hitting up the local garage sales, hoping to score on some good deals from ignorant parents. Yes. I ended up picking up a copy of Pokemon Stadium, GoldenEye, fuck yeah, F-Zero, and 2 other controllers for $2. Satisfied, I began to drive out of the neighborhood when one last house caught my attention. I still have no idea why it did. There were no cars there, and only one table was set up with random junk on it. But something sort of drew me there. I usually trust my gut on these things, so I got out of the car and I was greeted by an old man. His outward appearance was, for lack of a better word, displeasing. He was yucky. It was odd.
He's gremlining this.
Yeah,
He got a video game through
from a mysterious
gremlin
old
rules
man in the
with one table, and he told me it wasn't.
Don't
that
play the
game's
game.
Not for sale.
Don't play the game after midnight.
Yes.
It was odd. If you asked me to tell you why I thought he was displeasing, I couldn't really pinpoint anything. There was just something about him that put me on edge. I can't explain it. He was yucky. All I can tell you,
he wasn't wearing pants.
He's like, I don't know what it was. I couldn't tell you. All I can tell you is that if it wasn't in the middle of the afternoon and there were other people around within shouting distance, I would not have even thought of approaching this man.
That's nuts. This is I think life advice for everybody. If there's a guy that you're like, if I wouldn't feel safe approaching you at nighttime or without people around, don't approach him in daytime with people around.
Just
don't approach him. He flashed a crooked smile at me and asked me what I was looking for. I immediately noticed that he must be blind in one of his eyes. His right eye had that glazed over look about it. I forced myself to look at his left eye instead, trying not to offend him, and asked him if he had any old video games.
Hey, I don't mean to offend you, but you're fucking yucky, and I don't like your eye. Anyway.
Are you looking for... I wish people would stop telling me that. I'm gonna be honest.
I can't fucking help it, okay? Thanks for bringing it up, asshole. I was already wondering how I could politely excuse myself from the situation when he would tell me he had no idea what a video game was. So he's thinking that he's going to tell him this.
Yeah. He's being a kind of an asshole.
Being ageist, if anything. But to my surprise, he said he'd had a few ones in an old box. He assured me he'd be back in a jiffy and turned to head back into the garage. As I watched him hobble away, I couldn't help but notice what he was selling on his table. Littered across his table were rather peculiar paintings, various artworks that looked like ink blots that a psychiatrist might show you. Curious, I looked through them. It was obvious.
They all looked like dicks. Weird.
I wonder what this means. I looked through them. It was obvious why no one was visiting this guy's garage sale. These weren't exactly aesthetically pleasing. As I came to the last one, for some reason, it looked almost like Majora's Mask. The same heart-shaped body with little spikes protruding outward. Initially, I just thought that since I was secretly hoping to find that game at these garage sales, some Freudian bullshit was projecting itself into the ink blots. Was that Freud? Is that Freud?
I think Freud
I thought
wants you to
he
fuck
was
your
just
mom.
about fucking your mom, right? Maybe that's what he said.
Well,
I looked at one of the ink blots and it
that.
looked like my mom, and I was fucking her, and I didn't know what it meant.
Well, that's definitely Freudian. I did read one time when McDonald's was going to get rid of the arches. Have you heard this? And then Freud said, "Don't do that because it's, God damn it, it's mother's bosomist arches."
He wanted to fuck his mom so bad.
You know, it was just like he just said something weird one time, and he started getting made fun of, and then he became a doctor just so he could be like, "No, everybody wants to fuck their mom. I'm not weird. Everybody wants to. It's normal. Everybody says it. Everybody knows it."
Yes. But given the events that happened afterward, I'm not sure now. I should have asked the man about it. I wish I would have asked the man about it. I will say this, quick disclaimer. I've never played any of the Legend of Zelda games. I want to.
Nope.
I want to get a Switch, and maybe I'll start getting into them, but...
I mean, Breath of the Wild looked fun, but it doesn't look appealing to me because it's Zelda.
Right, exactly.
I never really got into Zelda.
Yeah, I was a Mario and Pokemon guy, but not Zelda.
I've heard of Majora's Mask. I've heard of a lot of the popular Zelda stuff, Wind Waker and
Yeah,
whatnot. But
Ocarina of
I've
Time.
never played them. I've seen the Majora's Mask. But anyway,
I know like the biggest exposure I have to this game, Majora's Mask, is I just have heard that people were like already in itself, and I understand why he chose this game. It was already in itself weird because it like diverged from the other games, because all the other ones were like you have to save the princess, and this one was like the world is ending, and it was like oh okay, that's weird.
Yeah, it's in like a dying thing. It's like, I don't know.
The Earth, I think the moon is supposed to be crashing into the Earth or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
After staring at the Majora-shaped blot, I looked up and the old man was suddenly there again, arm's length in front of me, smiling at me. I'll admit, I jumped out of reflex and I laughed nervously as he handed me a Nintendo 64 cartridge. It was the standard gray color, except someone had written Majora on the back in permanent marker. I got butterflies in my stomach as I realized what a coincidence this was. Oh, no, I thought he was going to be excited. Anyway, so he asked him how much he wanted for it, I asked him how much he wanted for it, but...
The old man smiled at me and told me that I could have it for free, that he used to belong to a kid who was about my age that didn't live here anymore. Red flag. Just red flag. If he says it belonged to a kid that doesn't live here anymore, not like, it was my son's or my grandson's. Like, this guy killed that kid.
If he's just, it'd be like, where does the kid live?
Oh,
What's the kid's relationship to you?
Anyway, do you want the fucking game or not?
Because it seems like if it would just, because at first I thought you meant like a kid like left it here when the previous family moved, but it seems like that's a more normal way to say that sentence. So,
yeah. This old man, you killed this kid. There was something weird about how the man phrased that. Yes, I agree.
Well, okay, yeah.
But I didn't really pay any attention to then. I was too caught up in not only finding this game, but getting it for free. The one thing I like, and he'll say this later, is that creepypastas will have all these grammatical errors because they're obviously been like written really fast and they're not revising them. And then later on, and I think it's in the same one, he says, "I'm sorry if there's grammatical errors. I was just so frightened or whatever as I wrote this." And I'm like, on one part, it's good because I'm like, okay, well, that adds like realism to it. But I'm like, on the other part, it's lazy because you didn't revise your fucking writing.
Well, but also it's like, oh, you had time to sit down and crank out fucking 16 paragraphs, a novella, but you didn't have time to proofread it once.
You son of a bitch. Anyway.
Right. I reminded myself to be a bit skeptical since it looked pretty shady, like a shady cartridge, and there's no guarantee it would work. Yeah, but it's free, so like who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, it's like, okay, well, worst case scenario is I'm throwing something away and I'm out nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway. But then the optimist inside me interjected that maybe it was some kind of beta version or pirated version of the game, and that all I needed to be back on Cloud 9. I thanked the man, and the man smiled at me and wished me well, saying, "Well, goodbye then." At least, that's what it sounded like to me.
Like an NPC. Goodbye then.
Goodbye then. I'm sorry, I actually had another question about the game.
Goodbye
Are you
then.
sure it works?
Goodbye then.
I'm just gonna leave.
He's like, the fucking old man is just running up against the wall. He's like, goodbye then.
Oh, man. All right, anyway. All the way in the car ride home, I had a nagging doubt that the man said something else. My fears were confirmed when I booted up the game. To my surprise, it worked just fine. And there was one saved file. God. There was one save file named simply Ben. Goodbye, Ben. He was saying, "Goodbye, Ben." I felt bad for the old man, obviously a grandparent and obviously going senile, and I, for some reason or another, reminded him of his grandson, Ben. Okay. I'm not great at reading, but that one wasn't my fault.
I will give this to Mason, I gave him a lot of shit while we were doing the My Romantic Cabin Getaway. But more often than not, it's the fault of the writers because they make confusing-ass grammatical errors.
Well, this one, it's not even, I mean, it's just not a good
just
sentence for,
written
like, a
weird.
book.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
it's just phrased so weirdly that your brain is like, here's the natural progression of
Yes,
where
yeah.
this sentence goes, and then it was like, wait, no, we took a left turn, what's
Yep.
happening? And my mouth is trying to catch up, but my brain's like, I don't know what the fuck is happening anymore.
Out of curiosity, I looked at the save file. Eyeballing it, I could tell he was pretty far in the game. He had almost all of the masks and 3 out of 4 remains of the bosses. I noticed that he had used an owl statue to save his game. He was on day 3 and by the Stone Tower Temple with hardly an hour left before the moon would crash. I remember thinking that it was a shame that he had come so close to beating the game, but he never finished it. I made a new file named Link out of tradition and started the game, ready to relive my childhood.
For such a shady-looking game cartridge, I was impressed at how smoothly it ran. Literally just like a retail copy of the game, save for a few minor hiccups here and there, like textures being where they shouldn't be, random flashes of cutscenes at odd intervals, but nothing too bad. However, the only thing that was a little unnerving was that that at times the NPCs would call me Link, and at other times they would call me Ben. I figured it was just a bug, a fluke of the programming causing our files to get mixed up or something like that. It did not creep me out, though, after a while. It did kind of creep me out, though, after a while. And it was around that... Fuck. God damn it. It did kind of creep me out, though, after a while, and it was around after I had beaten the Woodfall Temple that I regrettably went into the save files and deleted... This is the same sentence. This is... Okay, it did kind of creep me out, though, after a while, comma, and it was around after I had beaten the Woodfall Temple that I regrettably went into the save files and deleted Ben, parenthesis, I had intended to preserve the file just out of respect of the game's original owner, comma, it's not like I needed 2 files anyway, parenthesis, comma, hoping that would save the problem. Okay, so the game was calling him Ben when it should have been calling him Link.
Yes.
So at a certain point in the game, at a certain time, after the Woodfall Temple, he went in and deleted the Ben file, even though he
Yes.
originally intended on saving that file.
Yes.
Jesus fucking Christ. It did. Why don't you get these? You just get normal written paragraphs, and then I get one that's like, here's 6 run-on sentences with 4 commas and a parenthesis with another comma in it in the middle of it. Anyway, okay. So it did and didn't. Okay, so it did and didn't fix the problem.
Yeah.
Now NPCs wouldn't call me anything. Where my name should be in the dialogue, there was just a blank space. My save file name was still called Link, though. Frustrated and with homework to do, I put the game down for a day.
I started playing the game again last night, getting the lens of truth and working my way towards completing the Snowhead Temple. Now, some of
It's
you...
so funny that none of these words mean anything to me.
They don't
you know
mean
what I mean?
anything to me.
They just says things, and I'm like, cool, sounds
I'm like,
good,
that
man.
sounds fucking dope.
Yeah.
Now, some of you more hardcore Majora's Mask players, that's not us, know about the 4th day glitch. For those who don't, you can Google it, but the gist of it is that right as the clock is about to hit 000 on the final day, you talk to the astronomer and look through the telescope. If you time it right, the countdown appears, and you essentially have another day to finish whatever you were doing. Deciding to do the glitch to try and finish the Snowhead Temple, I happened to get it right on the first try, and the time counter at the bottom disappeared. Sorry to our listeners, I am sick, and I feel like it's definitely showing in my voice.
It's just buttery and gravelly, baby. You're good. That was a fun
By
one.
sick, I mean I smoked 3 packs of cigarettes right before I filmed this, so I just sound like any.
You've got that 20s or 40s
Yeah.
kind of radio reporter kind of thing. I like it. However, when I pressed B to exit the telescope, instead of being greeted by the astronomer, I found myself in the Majora boss fight room at the end of the game, the trippy, boxed-in area, staring at the Skull Kid hovering above me. There was no sound, just him floating in the air above me, and the background music, which was regular for the area, but still creepy. Immediately, my palms began to sweat. This was definitely not normal. Yeah,
My palms are sweaty.
Knees are heavy. Yeah. This is definitely not normal. Skull Kid never appeared here. I tried moving around the area, but no matter where I went, the Skull Kid would always be facing me, looking at me, not saying anything. Nothing would happen though, and this kept up for around 60 seconds. I thought the game had bugged or something, but I was beginning to doubt that very much. He was beginning to doubt that the game was bugged.
Was bugging, yeah.
Yes, was bugging. It's not tripping.
It ain't tripping, dog. I was
All breezy.
I was about to reach for the reset button when text appeared on my screen. This is a quote. You're not sure why, but you apparently had a reservation. Oh, I had a reservation because I was going to go to dinner. That's why. Oh my God. The game's
Was
like,
that-
hey, dumbass.
Spaloonies.
I
That was the
instantly,
restaurant.
oh, okay. I instantly recognized that text. You get that message when you get the room key from on you at the Stock Pot Inn. But why was it playing here? I refused to entertain the notion that it was almost as if the game was trying to communicate with me. Right, because that's crazy.
It sounds like it's just a broke ass game
Yeah,
cartridge
it does.
still. Well, it's also funny to me that it's like, well, I tried to break the game, and then the game broke in an unintentional way. And is it trying to talk to me? No, probably not.
I started navigate the room again, testing to see if it was some sort of trigger that enabled me to interact with something here. Then I realized how stupid I was. To even think that someone could reprogram the game like this was absurd. I don't think so. Maybe by 2010 standards, but I don't think so. I
I
mean,
feel like by 2010,
people
the
were
ability-
modding like GTA San Andreas like 2 years after it came
Yeah.
out, so...
and they were like, they had like successfully taken Majora's Mask and like what do you call it, emulated it on
Yeah,
like
so-
entire other things.
Yeah, so-
right. I don't know. I don't know how it works, I guess, but it doesn't seem like that crazy that
Right.
they could have formatted a game
Yeah,
cartridge, right? And then especially a blank one, and then just written
Yeah,
Majora
right,
on it,
yeah.
and it was like almost Majora's Mask,
Yeah.
but not quite. Yeah, I
Seems
don't
like
know.
something that people...
Honestly, I would go back to his first thing that this is probably just a pirated version of the game, and it kind of fucking is. It's a little janky, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Sure enough, 15 seconds later, another message appeared on the screen. And again, like the first one, it was already a pre-existing phrase. Go to the lair of the temple's boss. Yes or no? I paused for a second, contemplating what I should press and how the game would react. When I realized that I couldn't select no, taking a deep breath, I pressed yes, and the screen faded to white, with the words dawn of a new day, with the subtext line, 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 line beneath it.
Those are actual lines, not, it
Yeah.
didn't say
Yeah.
line.
Where I was ported to filled with where
Yeah,
I was
see?
where I was ported to, should have been a comma there, filled
Mm-hmm.
me with the most intense sense of dread and impending fear I had ever experienced.
You missed apparently some of the fucking commas that were in my sentence
Yeah,
earlier.
they were-
Should have been down here. All right. The only way I can describe the way I felt here is having the feeling of inexplicable depression on a profound scale.
Hey, man.
He's using like big words, but like weirdly,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
I am normally not a depressed person, but the
Well,
way
that's what
I
depressed
felt
people
here,
say. So
yeah, and I'm not an alcoholic. But the way I felt here was a feeling that I didn't even know existed. It was such a twisted, powerful presence that seemed to wash over me.
I appeared in some kind of weird Twilight Zone version of Clocktown. I walked out of the clock tower, as you normally do when you start from day one, only to find that all of the inhabitants were gone. Usually with the fourth day glitch, you can still find the guards and the dog that runs around outside the tower. This time they were all gone. What replaced them was the ominous feeling that there was something out there, in the same area as me, and that it was watching me. I had 4 hearts to my name and the hero's bow, but at this point I wasn't even considered. I think he meant concerned, but at this point I wasn't even concerned for my avatar. I felt that I was personally in some kind of danger. Perhaps the most chilling thing was the music. It was a song of healing, ripped straight from the game itself, but played in reverse. The music would get louder, building up so as if you should expect something to pop out at you, but nothing ever did, and the constant loop began to wear on my mental state.
Just mute the TV.
Yeah. How many times I played it late at night and I was like, I don't want my parents to hear it, so I just hit mute.
Yeah, or just a time that I was like, this is kind of bad.
Yeah.
Just like, boop. Anyway, every now and then I would hear a faint laugh of the happy mask salesman in the background. Just quiet enough so that I wasn't sure if I was hearing things, but just loud enough to keep me determined to find him. I looked in all 4 zones of Clocktown only to find nothing. No one. Textures were missing. West Clocktown had me walking on air. The entire area felt broken. Hopelessly broken. As the reverse song of healing repeated from what must have been the 50th time, I just remember standing in the middle of South Clocktown, realizing that I had never felt so alone in a video game before. Turn it off.
Yeah. I will say this.
Reset the game.
Yeah, like, this is easily solvable because you can just, right? But I will say this. That part is spooky to me because, like, playing old games like that and, like, the music sometimes already is kind of like weird, you know what I mean? Like, have you heard? There's another creepypasta called the Lavender Town Syndrome. Have you heard of that one?
Yes, I have.
Like
music
the
in Lavender
Town cause seizures or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's the Pokemon from Lavender Town.
Yeah,
by the
I'm
way,
like
but
that. I can see that. That's scary because it's like, it's like already like 8-bit weird fucking things or whatever. So I'm like, that's a little spooky. I'll give him that. But yes, then again, just put your TV on mute.
Just reset.
Or,
I mean, because I've run into game
gonna stop you
problems
right
like
here.
this.
Go buy the actual cartridge.
I mean, that's a good point too. Use the internet. It's 2010.
Yeah.
Just Google
Get an
that shit.
emulator on your phone at this point, probably.
But also, like, I mean, I guess I understand there's like probably like a paranormal feeling thing for him. But it's like I've run into video game problems where my game fucking glitches the fuck out and shit, and I've just been like, oh,
yeah.
boop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just be like, well, that's not right. That's not how this is supposed to go. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, I'm next, right?
Yeah.
As I walked through the ghost town, I don't know whether it was the combination of the out-of-place textures and the atmosphere and the haunting melody of the once peaceful and soothing song being butchered and distorted, but I was literally on the verge of tears, and I had no idea why. I hardly ever cry. Something had gripped me here in this powerful sense of depression that was both foreign and crippling. I'm a very emotional guy, and, you know, I cry, like, when the stories are really good, I will tear up. And you know me, I get spooked out easily by things, but that's just very interesting to me. I've never been like, this is so scary that I'm gonna cry. Like if my game glitched and I was like, whoa, that was fucking weird, I would just be like, whatever, and I wouldn't give it a second thought. I just can't.
Yeah, I can't get over the fact that he's like, I hardly ever cry, and this situation was bringing me to tears. And it's just like, then stop playing.
Then stop playing. Who's making
like
you play? Do you have a gun to your head? Keep fucking playing the game.
It's so emotional for you. It's like, just stop then.
Then it's not good for you, man.
Sometimes I'm playing video games if I'm by myself and I'm just like, what the I don't want to fucking do this anymore. And I just turn it off. I also get depressed because I'm like, what am I? The house is gross. I should just get up and clean. I should do some exercise. And I just get up and do that. I don't just be like, fuck.
Well, yeah, like the idea.
And it's like, I get that depression sometimes, you know, it makes things hard, but I'm not blaming, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
This is silly. All right, I tried leaving Clocktown, but every time I attempted to zone out, the screen would fade to black, and I would just zone in to another part of Clocktown. I tried playing my ocarina. I wanted to escape, and I did not want to be here. But every time I played the Song of Time or the Song of Soaring, it would only say, quote, "Your notes echo far, but nothing happens." By this point, it was obvious that the game didn't want me to leave, but I had no idea why it was keeping me here. I didn't want to go inside the buildings. I felt that I would be too vulnerable there to whatever I was terrified of. I don't know why, but I came up with the idea that maybe if I drowned myself in the laundry pool, I could spawn somewhere else and leave this place.
As I zoned in and ran towards the pool, that's when it happened. Link grabbed his head, and the screen flashed for a brief moment of the happy mask salesman smiling at me, not Link. Me with Skull Kid's scream playing in the background, and when the screen returned, I was staring at the Link statue from playing the song Elegy of Emptiness. I screamed as the thing just stared back at me with that haunting facial expression. I turned around and ran out back into South Clocktown, and to my horror, the fucking statue followed me, and the only way I can compare this is like the weeping angels from Doctor Who. That is kind of spooky. Every so often, at random intervals, the animation would play of the statue appearing behind me. It was like the thing was chasing me, or, I don't even want to fucking say it, haunting me. Yeah, the weeping angels in Doctor Who, they're like statues, and the whole rule is when you look at them, they can't move, but as soon as you blink or turn away, they move. So that's like what he's saying is happening, yeah. Which, they were
I just
very...
looked up the smiling mask man, and it's not scary.
I looked up Skull Kid, but I didn't look up Smiling Mask Man.
But okay, so can you sum up that paragraph, because I didn't fully understand.
Yeah. So he's saying I mean.
What? So okay, so he walks in.
So yeah, he walks in. He goes to try to drown himself. The little avatar of Link grabs its head, and then the screen flashes, and it's the happy mask salesman smiling at the player directly, not at Link, but like just like on the screen, basically.
Sure. So it's just on the screen, right? It's just on the screen. It's okay, yeah.
And then Skull Kid's scream, which I guess he must scream at some point in the game, can be heard playing in the background. And then when it returned back to the regular gameplay, there's a statue of Link that appears, I guess, when you play the Elegy of Emptiness. And it was just staring back at him, at like his character, just staring at him. So then he moves the character around,
his character, and the
statue's following him. And it keeps playing like a little what are they called? What are they fucking called?
I don't know. What? It keeps playing what?
Animation, a cutscene. It keeps playing little cutscenes of like the thing appearing right behind him.
Would play of the statue appearing behind me. Okay, well I can't really picture this, probably just because I've never played the game, but like. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So by this point, I was on the verge of hysterics. It just feels like he got really upset about this really quickly.
Yeah.
But not even once did the thought of turning off the console occur to me. I don't know why. I was so wrapped up in it. The terror felt so real. I tried to shake the statue, but it would literally appear right behind me every single time. Link started to begin to make weird animations I had never seen him do before. He would flail his arms around or spasm randomly at the screen, and the screen would cut to the happy mask salesman. Smiling again for a brief moment before I was face to face with that fucking statue again. I ended up running into the Swordmaster's dojo and ran to the back. I don't know why, but in my panic, I just wanted some kind of assurance that I'm not alone here. To my dismay, I found no one. But as I turned to leave, the statue cornered me in the cubby in the back. I tried attacking the statue with my sword, but to no avail. Confused and backed into a corner, I just stared at the statue, waiting for it to kill me. Suddenly, the screen flashed to the happy mask salesman, and Link turned to face my screen, standing upright, mirroring the statue, looking at me along with his copy, literally staring at me. Whatever was left of the fourth wall was completely shattered while I ran out of the dojo terrified.
But how did he... That's what I wondered too, my first read through.
Link was staring at him.
So I guess then he must have gotten control of it, and then so he could run out.
Or is he in the game? Is he troned? Did he get troned?
He got troned.
Though?
So
he got troned. Okay, suddenly the game warped me to an underground tunnel, and the reverse song of healing queued up again as I was given a brief moment to rest before the statue started appearing behind me, this time aggressively. I could only take a few steps because it was summoned behind me again. I hurriedly made my way out of the tunnel and appeared in Southern Clocktown. As I ran aimlessly in a sheer panic, suddenly a re-dead screamed. A re-dead?
I don't know what that means.
Suddenly, it must be a game thing.
Yeah.
A re-dead screamed, and the screen faded to black as dawn of a new day, and the lines appeared again.
That is kind of spooky, though. The idea of like you're just playing a video game, and then your character like stops moving with the control, and it's just like.
Well, that's
like,
true.
You know what I mean? Like just staring at you, like. Fucking, I'm like imagining myself because I've been playing Red Dead a lot. Just fucking the cowboy just being like, and just fucking, and I'm like,
Well, to me, I don't know. I get that it would be scary, but all I can imagine him doing is like a jimming the camera thing, just being like, "Can you believe this fucking shit?" And then like turning back, and it's like, "God damn it, that just cracks me up." Yeah. Well, that just ain't right. Mm-hmm.
The screen faded in, and I was standing on top of Clock Tower with Skull Kid hovering over me again. Silent. I looked up and the moon was back, looming just meters above my head. But the Skull Kid just stared at me hauntingly with that fucking mask. A new song was playing. The Stone Tower Temple theme played in reverse. In some sort of desperate attempt, I equipped my bow and fired off a shot at the Skull Kid, and it actually hit him, and he played an animation of him reeling back. I fired again, and on the third arrow, a text box appeared saying, "That won't do you any good. He."
Haha.
And I was picked up off the ground, levitated upwards on my back, and then Link screamed as he burst into flames, instantly killing him.
God, this is
That's
almost
metal.
scary, and then I remember it's a fucking video
Yeah.
game. I can't get over that. But anyway, all right. I jumped when this happened. I had never seen this move used by anyone in the game, and Skull Kid himself didn't have any moves. As the death screen played, my lifeless body still burning, the Skull Kid laughed and the screen faded to black, only to have me reappear in the same place. I decided to charge him, but the same thing happened. Link's body was lifted off the ground by some unknown force and immediately burst into flames again, killing him. This time, during the death scene, the faint sounds of the reverse song of healing could be heard. On my third and final try, I noticed there was no music playing this time, that all there was an eerie silence. I remember that in the original encounter with Skull Kid, you were supposed to use the ocarina to either travel back in time or summon the giants. I attempted to play the Song of Time, but before I could hit the last note, Link's body once again horrifically exploded into flames, and he died.
As the death screen neared its end, it began to chug. As if the cartridge was
Chug,
trying
chug,
to
chug.
as if the cartridge was trying to process a lot of something. When the screen came to, it was the same scene as the first 3 times, except this time Link was lying on the ground dead in a position I had never seen in the game before, his head tilted towards the camera with the Skull Kid floating above him. I couldn't move. I couldn't press any buttons. All I could do is just stare at Link's dead body. After around 30 seconds of this, the game simply fades out with a message, "You've met a terrible fate, haven't you?" before kicking you out to the title screen.
Okay, so it does make a little sense. I decided I would finally Google this and see what the game looks like on the N64, and it is 3D. So
Yeah.
that helps my brain
Yes.
compute
Yes, okay.
how it's because I was imagining
That it was
looking
2D?
down on an 8-bit.
Oh,
yeah.
right, because of the old ones. Yeah, no, this one
Yeah,
was...
so I'm like, this is not that intimidating,
Right.
but this, I guess I get how
Yeah.
it would be a little scarier. But it also looks like the camera is turning, so it looks like you can make Link look at the screen.
That's
so
what I
don't,
thought, too.
I don't really understand how some of this. Oh, and there's the statue. The
I don't-
statue is unscary too. God, none of this is that scary. I don't really understand it, but I mean, I guess I can. I guess it. I guess it could be scary, but
I think the statue's funny.
it is. It's very funny looking. It looks like a sex doll version of Link. Well, it's got its like mouth open.
Yeah, it does.
Anyway, okay. Upon getting back to the title screen and starting again, I noticed my save file was no longer there. Instead of Link, it was replaced with your turn, and had 3 hearts, 0 masks, and no items. I selected your turn, and immediately when I did, I was returned to the clock tower rooftop scene of my Link being dead and the Skull Kid hovering over. The Skull Kid's laughing, looping again and again and again. I quickly hit the reset button, and when the game booted up, there was one more save file added below your turn entitled Ben. Ben's save file is right back where it was before I deleted it, at the Stone Tower Temple with the moon almost crashing.
I turned the game off at that point. I'm not superstitious, but this is way too fucked up even for me. I haven't played it at all today. Hell, I didn't even get any sleep last night. I kept hearing the reverse song of healing music in my head and just remembering the sense of dread I felt exploring Clocktown. I drove back to the old man's house today to ask him some questions with a buddy of mine. No way I was going there alone. only to find that there's a for sale sign in front of the yard, and when I rang the door, no one was home. You see what I'm talking about? Like, reading this nowadays, I'm like, oh, this is a cliche. But again, at its time, it kind of started the cliches that we see.
I just can't get over how little it took for this guy. Like, I feel like I'm still waiting for, like, where's the hook of this? You know what I mean? Like, when does this become an actual horror thing?
I think the whole first part is just set up. And I think it's unnecessarily long setup.
It really is, because at this point, I'm just like, oh, so the game's broke. You know what I mean? I was just like, I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to play that then. And then I would have just moved on. He's like, oh, I got to get some questions answered about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Whatever. All right. So now I'm back here writing down the rest of my thoughts and recording what happened. Sorry if some of this has grammatical errors and whatnot. I'm running on no sleep here. I'm terrified of this game, even more so now that I relived it a second time writing this all down. But I feel like there's still more to it than it meets the eye. There's something calling me to investigate this further. I think Ben is something in this equation, but I don't know what. And if I could get a hold of the old man, then I would be able to find some answers. I need another day or so to recuperate before tackling this game again. It's already taken a toll on my sanity. I feel like... It's already taken a toll on my sanity, I feel like, but next time I do this, I'm going to be recording my footage all the way through. The idea to record only came to me towards the end, so if you see the last few minutes of what I saw, including Skull Kid and the elegy statue, but it's there on YouTube. Oh, okay, so it's on there.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to stay in this thread for a little while longer before I fall asleep to answer any questions you guys might have, or hopefully listen to your ideas or theories to help me shed some light into this, or maybe things I should try to do. I think I'm going to play Ben's file tomorrow to see what happens. Maybe I was supposed to do that all along. I don't believe in paranormal shit, but this is a little fucked up. But maybe this Ben guy is a really good hacker/programmer. I don't want to think about the alternatives if he isn't. I also love the repeated, and again, this, I can't judge it because this was at the beginning, and they've done it since. But I love the repeated of every guy who writes a fucking creepypasta has to be like, I don't believe in the supernatural, but here's some supernatural shit that happened to me. Because it's almost like they think, because it's almost like they think that adds credibility. So they're like, well, if I say I'm not into the supernatural, people will be like, okay, but this guy, he's not into it, so it's real.
He's coming from a place of logic.
Yeah,
because he doesn't believe in it. It's
right.
Yeah. All right. So this is him writing this little bit?
Yeah, he says that's the end of the copy/paste. I'm hoping that maybe this is some kind of running gag the developers had and that other people had gotten gag or hacked copies of the game like this. This just really scares me.
I'm going to post what happened and link the video footage, but last night, everything got too real for me. I think I'm done messing around with this. I passed out pretty much immediately after making that thread, but last night, that Elegy of Emptiness statue, I had a dream about it. I dreamed that it was following me in my dream. It's redundant. I had a dream about it. I dreamed that it was following me in my dream. That's a real sentence. That I would be minding my own business when I'd feel my neck hairs stand up on end. I would turn around, that horrible, lifeless statue would be staring at me with those... It's funnier now that I've looked up what the statue looks like, because it's not scary in the slightest. Would be staring at me with those empty eyes right at me, merely inches away in my dream. I remember calling it Ben, and never before had I had a dream that I could remember so vividly. But the important thing is, I did get some sleep, I suppose.
Today, putting off playing the game as long as I could, I drove back up to the neighborhood to see if the old man came back. As expected, the car was still gone and no one was home. As I was walking back to my car, the man next door mowing the grass killed the power to his lawnmower and asked me if I was looking for someone. I told him that I was looking to talk to the old man that lived there, to which he told me what I already knew. He was moving. Trying a different avenue, I asked if the old man had any family or relatives I could talk to. I discovered that this old man had never been married, nor did he have any children or grandchildren through adoption. Starting to become worried, I asked one final question, one that I should have asked from the beginning. Who was Ben? The man's expression turned grim, and I learned that 4 doors down, around 8 years ago on April 23rd, the man informed me that it was the same day as his anniversary. That's how he knew the specific date. There was an accident
Okay.
with a young
You
boy
know,
named
it's like,
Ben.
whatever.
Yeah, with a young boy named Ben in the neighborhood. Shortly after, his parents moved, and despite any further attempts to talk to the man to get more information, he wouldn't divulge anything else.
I went back and started playing again. Well, bummer.
Ah, damn, that sucks.
I went back and started playing again. I loaded up the game and immediately I jumped at the title screen when where the mask flies by. The sound that played was not the normal whoosh noise. It was something much more higher pitched. I pressed start. Whoosh! I pressed start, bracing for the worst, but just like 2 nights ago, the files Your Turn and Ben were displayed. Truth be told, I looked at the Ben file earlier. It seems to fluctuate between displaying the owl save and not. I brought up the Ben file, hesitated for a moment, noticing that the stats were not the same as they originally were 2 days ago. It seemed like they had already completed the stone tower this time. Summoning my courage, I selected it.
Immediately, I was thrust into complete chaos. Sure enough, I was outside. Sure enough, I was outside Stone Tower Temple, but that's about all that was expected. The zone itself wasn't called Stone Tower Temple, but rather ST space O space N space E. And immediately a dialogue box of complete gibberish that I couldn't make out greeted me. Link's body was distorted, his back was cocked violently to the side, where his posture was permanently disfigured. Link's expression was dull, almost monotonous. He had an expression on his face that I didn't recognize before. It was a blank look, as if he was dead. As Link stood there, his body spasmed irregularly, back and forth, and I examined what had become of my avatar and noticed I had a C button item I'd never seen before. Some kind of note, but pressing it did nothing. Sounds played back and forth that I didn't recognize from the game, almost demonic in nature, and there was some kind of high-pitched yip or some kind of laugh or something playing in the background.
Yep. What is that? Yep. Oh, so God, it's so spooky.
I had all of the 2 minutes to take in the environment before another one of those fucking Elegy of Emptiness statues was summoned, and immediately after, I was cut into the Dawn of a New Day screen, except this time it was without the lines subtext.
I was a Dooku scrub in Clocktown. Sure. This scene would normally play after the first time you traveled back in time. Tattle would say, "What just happened? It's as if everything has..." But instead of saying "started over," she finished her remark in broken text as the laugh of the happy mask salesman played in the background. I was put back in the control of my character, but from a fucked up camera angle, I was looking from behind the door of the clock tower, watching my avatar run around the Deku scrub. Okay, seeing as how I really had no place to go because I couldn't see anything, I begrudgingly went inside the door. There I was greeted with the happy mask salesman who simply told me, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" before the screen whited out.
I was in Termina Field as a human again. I might as well not have been playing the same game anymore. I was being warped around and there was no sign of a day clock or anything. I took a moment to get my bearings as I looked around the field, and immediately I could tell this was not normal. There were no enemies, and a twisted version of the Happy Mask Salesman's theme was playing. I decided to run towards Woodfall before I noticed a gathering of 3 figures off to the side, one of them being Epona. As I approached them, to my horror, I saw the Happy Mask Salesman, the Skull Kid, and the Elegy of Emptiness statue just standing there. I figured maybe they were bugged out, but by now I told myself that I should know better. Okay. Nevertheless, I approached them carefully and found that the Skull Kid was playing some kind of idle animation on loop. Same with Epona, and the Elegy of Emptiness statue was doing what it has been doing all along, just standing there eerily. He's standing there, menacingly. It was the Happy Mask Salesman that scared me more profoundly than the other 2.
He too was idle, wearing that shit-eating grin. But wherever I moved, his head slowly turned and followed me. I had not engaged in any dialogue with him, nor was I in combat with him, yet his head still continued to follow my movements. Reminded of my first encounter with the Skull Kid at the top of the clock tower, I pulled out my ocarina, to which the game played the ding sound when you're supposed to play your ocarina, and tried a song I hadn't played yet. The Happy Mask Salesman's own song, and the song that had been played on the loop back in day 4, the Song of Healing. I finished playing the song, and as I did, an ear-piercing shriek blasted on my TV. The sky immediately started flashing, the Happy Mask Salesman's twisted theme song sped up, intensifying the fear inside of me. And Link exploded into flames and died. Ah! The three figures stayed lit up during my death scene as they watched my lifeless body burn. I can't describe to you how sudden and terrifying the transition from eerie to terror it is. You're going to have to watch the video if you want to see firsthand the same fear that caused me to lose sleep 2 days ago started to grip me again as I met with the text, "You've met a terrible fate, haven't you, for the 3rd time." There has to be some kind of meaning behind that.
I had little time to ponder as I was immediately given another small cutscene of transforming into a Zora, and I now found myself in Great Temple Bay. Hesitant but curious to see what the game had in store for me, I slowly made my way towards the beach, where I found Epina. I wondered why the game had decided to put her here. Was the game implying she was trying to get a drink? Unable to take the mask off, I decided that riding the steed wasn't the reason she was placed there.
Suddenly, I realized that Epina kept neighing. Oh, is she a horse?
Yes, Epina's
a horse.
Yeah.
Okay. Epina kept neighing, and the way she was angled made it look like she was trying to signal to point me off in the distance. It was a hunch, but I drove into the Great Bay and started swimming. Sure enough, I almost missed it. I found something at the bottom of the ocean. One last Elegy of Emptiness statue. I went down to examine it, and suddenly my Zora started doing a choking animation that I had never seen a Zora do before. Which didn't even make sense because Zoras can breathe underwater. Regardless, my character choked to death and died, and again, the statue was the only thing that was highlighted in my death. I didn't respawn this time. I was booted back to the main menu as if I restarted the console.
The press start screen was before me. I knew the only reason why it would put me here is because the save files had changed again. Taking a deep breath, I pressed start, and I was right. The new save files told me about Ben. Now it made sense why the statue appeared when I tried to go to the laundry pool. The game must have anticipated how I would have tried to escape the day 4 clock town. The 2 save files told me his fate. As I suspected, Ben was dead. He had drowned. The game obviously isn't through with me. It taunts me with the new save files. It wants me to keep playing. It wants me to go further, but I'm done with this shit until I get bored and I play it again. I'm not touching any more of the files. This is already way too horrifying for me, and I don't even believe in the paranormal. But I'm running out of explanations. Why would someone send me this message? I don't understand it. I just get too depressed thinking about this. The footage is up here for those who want to see it and try and analyze it. Maybe there's some kind of coded message in the gibberish or something symbolic in what I went through. I'm too emotionally and mentally drained to fuck with it anymore.
I know it's early in the morning. I stayed up all night. I can't sleep. I don't care if people see this. That's not the point. I just want the word to get spread. I don't care if people see this. I just want people to read it so I don't suffer for nothing. I've lost the will to type about this. Here's 2 more fucking parts. The less I dwell on this, the better. I think the video just speaks for itself. I did what you guys told me to do. I played the Elegy of Emptiness song at the first prompt by the game I was given. But I think that's what the game, or Ben, Jesus Christ, I can't believe I'm even humoring that absurd idea that he exists in the game, wanted me to do. He's following me now. Not just in the game, he's in my dreams. I'll see him all the time, behind my back, just watching me. I haven't gone to any of my classes. I've stayed in my dorm room with the windows closed and the blinds shut. That way I know he can't watch me, but he still gets me when I play. Then stop playing it.
Yeah.
When I play, he can still see me. The game is scaring me now. It's talked to me for the first time. Not just using text that's already in the game. It spoke to me, talked to me. It referenced Ben. It talked to me. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it wants. I never wanted this. I just want my old life back.
Stuff like this doesn't happen to people like me. I'm just a kid, not even old enough to drink yet. It's not fair. I want to go home. I want to see my parents again. I'm so
no
far
one
away.
is stopping him from
Go
doing any
home.
of the things. Go home and see your fucking parents. Hug your mom.
I'm so far away from home here at the school. I just want to hug my mom again. I just want to forget that statue's horrible blank face. My original game file is back, just the way I left it before it was gone. I don't want to play anymore. I feel like something bad will happen if I don't, but that's impossible. It's a video game. Haunted or not, it can't hurt me. Right? Like, seriously, though, it can't, right? That's what I keep telling myself, but every time I think about it, I'm not so sure. I will say this.
Yeah.
Going by the rules of... I'm not saying... Obviously, this is a fictional story, and I'm not saying that this is what could be happening. But, according to the lore, demons can't... The difference between a demon and a ghost is a ghost can haunt a doll or a video game cartridge. But if it did, it wouldn't do things like this, right? So what it could be is it could be, according to the lore, it could be a demon. But demons can't actually possess, as we learn in the Conjuring and Annabelle franchise. Demons can't possess the actual object. They just move it around
Move it
or they
around.
use it.
They just like dance it.
And they often like to pretend to be something so that people feel bad
Yeah.
for it. Instance, the thing that this reminds me most of is Annabelle.
The
whole
Annabelle doll,
story
yeah.
of Annabelle is that it was a demon who pretended to be a little girl named Annabelle so that it could be taken in. So it could be that it's a demon
I
who's
just
pretending
like-
to be Ben through this
I
cartridge.
like the imagery of a demon learning how to code on
Well, yeah,
Nintendo 64
at
cartridges.
night he's like,
writing script and shit. Yeah, just being like click 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 click. Oh fuck.
"I'm so tired."
Hey, do you want to? We're going down to Little Caesars. I just wanted to know we're at Demon College. I know
No,
you're going
man.
to Demon.
I'm on this case already, and I've invested so much time. I gotta get it done. I gotta fucking put this code out because the kid, he's freaking out, and now just go
man.
without me.
You picked the wrong major. See, I'm a culinary demon. I'm special. I'm majoring in culinary. So
my dad, he wanted me to do this, and
I've kind of been thinking about opening. I don't know what you think. Opening a pizza. A pizza run, like a restaurant. I don't know. What do you think about that? You think that's got legs? You think that's a good idea?
man,
You know
I
what,
don't
I can
know.
see-
I'm just, I got this.
I
and
can see you're busy.
I'm on a time
You're busy.
crunch, and
You do it. Your sick voice is really good
Yeah.
for your demon
for my
voice.
demon voice, yeah.
Yeah. Let me just clear things up. I know you guys are worried about Jedusable. I know you guys are worried, but Jedusable is okay. He finished moving out today, and he said he's coming back home. He's just taking the semester off. I'm not really sure what happened, but I have a vague idea, but you guys probably know more than I do. I'm Jedusable's roommate, and obviously, I knew something was wrong with him for a few days now. He stayed in his room all the time, fell out of contact with literally all his friends, and I'm pretty sure he hadn't been eating hardly anything. After the second day, I couldn't stay in there anymore, so I've been crashing at a buddy's place, only coming into my room to get stuff that I need. I tried talking to him several times, but he would cut me off or keep the conversation brief. When I asked him about his strange behavior, it he was convinced something was haunting him.
I just imagine Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny, where he's got the board and he's like, that's every time he's like, "Hey, Jedusable, you want to go out?" And he's like, "No, it's just the game, man. It's killing me."
Pepe Sylvia! Pepe Sylvia! Everything says Pepe Sylvia! Who's Ben? Ben Drowned! Alright, okay. So yesterday I came to grab my philosophy textbook and he approached me, looking awful, like horrible bags under his eyes. He handed me a flash drive and gave me specific instructions. He told me that he needs me to do one last favor for him. He finally explained to me what's been going on, gave me the account info to his YouTube account, and told me that he's getting away from here, that it lured him to play it again instead of trying to change things, and that he shouldn't have done that. And to upload the footage and inform people what happened. I told him that he could do it himself, and he got this wild look in his eye and told me that he is never looking at that game again. And that's the last thing he said to me. He never even said bye when his parents came to pick him up. I never even got to meet his parents.
This roommate is really bummed out.
I mean, yeah, what the
I
fuck?
didn't meet his dad. I wanted to meet his dad.
Seemed cool, I don't know.
Honestly, can't tell you what happened. When he spoke, it was kind of hard to understand him, and his fucked up appearance really distracted me. On the flash drive, all these kids that go to this college are super judgmental of people. On the
Yo,
flash,
you look like fuck. I can't even listen to you.
You look
like
yucky.
such shit right now. What the fuck?
on the flash drive, there was the footage of the game last night, a text document with his name and password for YouTube, and a third document called the truth.txt. Containing what he told me were his notes that he'd taken. He told me that this meant everything to him, that I follow his instructions exactly. Normally I wouldn't be so to the letter for a request over a fucking video game, but the way he spoke and the way he looked made me know that this was really serious. I'm going to honor that.
I like how he was like, you guys know more than me. I don't even know what's fucking going on. I mean, he gave me all of the information. He told me everything and then gave me a flash drive with every bit of information on it.
But I don't know what's happening.
Did he read it? That's what I'm trying to figure
No,
out. If he was just like, I don't know what the
yeah.
fuck any of this shit means. Here you go. And then just moved on with his life.
I've had this video since yesterday, but I had to have someone help me use Pinnacle. That's not really my forte. That after watching it, I had to go back through and look at his other videos on his YouTube account to realize what was going on, and even then I'm really, really confused. This video, the video I'm releasing tonight, the truth.txt, will be released on September 15, just like he requested. I haven't dared peek at it yet, so the first time I see it will be the first time you see it out of respect to my friend.
What the fuck?
To answer your questions, no, I haven't tried calling him yet. I think I'll give him a call tomorrow to see if he's okay or not. He should have gotten back home by now.
I just love how he's like, he was my friend, but also I don't really know what the fuck's going on. And I
He
don't
was
really
my
give a
friend, but
shit.
also I don't really give a shit about him. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
He stinks.
Dude, anyway. All right. About the video. In this video, I cut straight to when he loaded the Ben file in the game. Looking back, I realized that Jedusable left the save select screen because it said different names sometimes, so my bad for that. But all it said this time was the same at the end of the last video, Link and Ben. Nothing different. I wasn't there when he played it, but it looks to me like the beginning when he first spawns, he's testing out his equipment or seeing what items he has or something, because apparently they've changed randomly before. Then after that, I just think the game got too personal for him.
Hey guys, Jedusable here. This will be the last time. That sounds like a YouTube channel. Hey guys, Jedusable here. This will be the last time you will be hearing from me, and this is my final gift to you. These are the notes that I have taken and realizations I've made. Before I delve into this, I want to thank you for following me and thank you for listening. It feels like the weight of a powerful burden is about to be lifted. By the time you read this, I won't be around anymore. But after spending 4 days with this maddening game, I have begun to understand what's really at play here, and hopefully after reading this, we can ensure that it never happens again.
There are things that I could not share with you while this was going on due to the circumstances, to which I'll explain. I didn't have an ending written yet.
Yeah.
Okay. With Ben blocking any attempt I made to try and relay the truth to you, I tried ever so subtly to warn you guys in various ways amidst the chaos and my delirium. I devised a make a barely noticeable pattern in my videos. In all 5 videos I recorded over the 4 days, I have either had the Mask of Truth, interacted with a Gossip Stone, or the Lens of Truth equipped at some point. For you, Zelda enthusiasts, These are all symbols of honesty and trustworthiness, and I would hope that one of you may have picked up on the reference. As I played with the file, which I would name Ben, being mindful of how Ben was watching over my every move in the game, I made a point to avoid doing anything too obvious. But I sent out a hidden message to you guys. I never equipped the lens, nor mask, nor visited a stone. What? But I sent a hidden message to you guys. I never equipped the lens, nor the mask, nor the stone, nor visited a stone. It worked and the video was uploaded. I prayed that someone would notice. The pattern didn't apply to Ben. I don't know what the fuck it. Do you understand that at all?
I don't really get that one, no. The tags followed suit. I hope you guys paid attention to this as
hold
well.
on.
Yeah.
So I think he's saying that but I sent hidden messages. Okay, so when he was playing the one that wasn't labeled Ben, he would use the honesty stuff, and when he was playing the one labeled Ben, he would never use the honesty stuff or the truthful stuff.
Cool. Okay. The tags followed suit, too. I hope you guys paid attention to those as well. They were my little messages to you, nothing big enough that would catch Ben's attention or make him suspect anything. With Ben manipulating and changing my files, I honestly hope that what you guys saw was close to what actually happened, but there is no way for me to know. I'll just read this a little bit. This may be a long read. I don't have time to proofread or make all of my research pretty, but here it all is.
Oh, also, don't forget, he doesn't believe in the paranormal stuff.
He doesn't believe in the paranormal, Mason.
Okay. Saturday, I don't know why I just said Saturday. There's no Saturday in there. September 6, 2010, 11 p.m. Can't believe what... This is like a log with dates and times. I don't... Yeah. Okay. Can't believe what happened. Not sure if this is some kind of elaborate hoax. Despite the fear, I can't help but be exceptionally curious about this. Who or what is the statue? A lot of questions here. I'm starting this document as a diary so I can keep track of everything. I'm typing up a summary of what happened so I can come back to it later.
September 7th, 2010, 2:10 a.m. Summary was posted here. You can go back and look at my first post for day 4.wmv for that. I think we should just do days then.
That's what I figured.
Okay. I lost my spot. 4:23 a.m. I can't sleep.
Nice.
I've been trying so hard, but the harder I try, I just get more restless. I just feel like the statue is appearing whenever I close my eyes. 8:20 a.m. Didn't sleep at all. Just going to start my day. I don't think I have the energy to go to class today. I'm going to drive back down and talk to that old man, taking my buddy Tyler with me just in case. 1:18 p.m. Back home now. No sign of the old man. Really weird that he appears to be moving the next day, but maybe the for sale sign was up there yesterday and I just didn't notice it. Tyler wants to know what's gotten me all worked up. I didn't tell him. Going to eat. Feel like death. 3:46 p.m. Could have sworn driving back from Subway that I saw the elegy statue buried in some shrubbery staring at me go by. Now I definitely need sleep.
Do you think when he sees the
still
statue
sees
in
it in
real
the
life,
graphics.
You think so?
Yeah,
You don't think it's like
no,
a realistic
it's not
version?
realistic.
Okay.
It's definitely still in the fucking shitty 3D graphics. 5 p.m. Don't think a lot of people would believe me if I told them about what's happening. Think I'm going to try posting this on the internet. Think I'll just use the summary. These notes are pretty sporadic. And then he still posted the notes anyway.
So he wrote. Okay, yeah, I get it. Okay,
6
he wrote
p.m.
the summary. Yeah.
Connected my capture card to my computer to upload the footage. Thought my computer froze for a second, made this strange popping sound when I hooked everything up, but now it seems to be working fine again. My computer can't die on me now. 7 p.m. Footage is finished uploading. The quality is a lot better than I thought it would be. Gee. Guess this is really special. This is really special.
Straight
cartridge.
up said G.
G,
huh?
just typed G. I've never had it come through this clear before. 8:45 p.m. Thought I saw an icon pop on my desktop that looked like the statue's face for a split second. Gave me quite a scare. Getting really unnerved and delirious. I'm going to crash after this. 9 p.m. Begin uploading my YouTube video on an alternate account. 9:03 p.m. I don't remember having uploaded a Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines video last year. This is probably the account that I shared with a friend of mine last summer. I hope he doesn't mind me using it to upload this. Okay, 9:55 p.m. Posting my summary of day 4 with a link to the YouTube video. Going to try to stay awake, but I am so tired right now.
So tired. Okay. September 8th, 2010, 10:48 a.m. I had a dream about the statue. I dreamed that it was following me in the dream. God damn it. That pisses me off so much. I had a dream about the statue. I dreamed that it was following me in my dream, that I would be minding my own business when I'd feel the hairs on my neck stand up. I would turn around, the horrible, lifeless statue would be staring at me with the empty eyes merely inches away. In my dream, I remember calling it Ben. Power of suggestion, most likely. And never before had I had a dream that I could remember so vividly. 11:21 a.m. I don't really want to play this game again. I think I'm going to go back and see if that old man is there. 1:35 p.m. No old man, but I had an interesting conversation with his neighbor. I'll post the full thing in my summary of tonight's attempt at playing the video game. Going to wait a bit, though, and can see if I can dig up any information on this Ben guy. 2:45 p.m. I've been getting random, inexplicable headaches all day due to lack of sleep, and I keep hearing that song in my head.
So then they're not random and inexplicable if you just said what they're due to, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. There, you just explained.
Yeah.
Also, it's flu season, so I need to be careful not to get sick. My immune system is going to be shit right now because of that all-nighter. 3 p.m., just a dash, nothing, no text. 3:02 p.m., my computer just ... on its own ... opened up a text document and wrote the words hi and www.cleverbot.com by itself. What the fuck? 3:46 p.m., I went onto the website. It's one of those bot chatting programs. I think this is the best conversation, or I think it's just best if the conversation speaks for itself. Is this a fucking ad? Jose, if you make me do a whole episode that's just a fucking ad read, I think I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah, this is an ad for Cleverbot. Sorry, it's coming back, everybody.
Cleverbot.com, the realest.
Did you ever do these when you were a kid?
I've used some of them, yeah.
I did the one where it was, what the fuck was his name? It was like the Arabian guy. Can't remember what his name was, and he would like know everything about you or whatever.
The genie that would think of a character and then would ask you questions.
Oh yes, that one.
That one's a little different. This is like one where it's like you're like hello and it's like hi.
Yeah,
you know?
But those were the ones that scared me more. The ones where it was like I can guess things about you, and I was like, no, you can't. And then it would be like, you live here, and I'd be like, what the? How does it know that?
Stop putting in your address into things, Jose. Hello.
Hello.
Who is this, and how are you able to control my computer?
Who am I?
Right, forgot. You're a bot.
Do you really think that?
Listen, I know whoever's fucking with my computer can see my screen right now.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll wager that you're one of those IT kids who thinks he's tough shit. You know what you're doing right now is illegal, right?
Is it?
No shit. Are you familiar with HTE terms invasion of privacy? Get the fuck off my computer, kid. I hate this guy. God damn it.
I am your computer.
Cool story. Anyway,
this is how you know it's dated, is the fact that it goes,
yes.
Cool story.
Cool story, bro. Yeah, anyway. Anyway, I'm calling DPS. You picked a bad time to fuck with me, kid. And he keeps calling everybody kid, you know, which is like, god damn it.
Such a like alpha douche thing to do.
Should I wait until you play the game then?
What?
What? Game.
What? Majora's Mask?
Yes.
How did you know about that?
Because.
Because what?
I did it.
I thought you were going to say chicken, but... did what?
I played with you.
What the fuck?
Were you scared?
Who the fuck is this?
Ben.
The statue? You're inside my computer now?
Yes.
How?
You connected me.
How the hell did I connect you? Fucking answer.
Cables and cords.
How? You plugged them in. I mean, what the fuck is happening right now?
Tell me about yourself.
What?
Tell me about yourself.
What do you mean?
What is it that really scares you?
What the fuck?
Answer.
No.
Answer.
What the fuck? How the fuck did you just open that by yourself?
I am your computer now.
How much can you control?
All.
What do you want from me?
To entertain.
You're stuck inside there. You can't hurt me.
Ha.
Question mark.
Go play.
No, you can't hurt me.
Took you longer to type that.
So?
You're not sure.
If you're so powerful, why do you use a ridiculous website to chat with me?
Less messy, more structured, fun.
Fun?
Yes.
Question mark?
Tradition. I like it.
You think it's funny?
Amusing.
And my notes?
You may write them down.
Why are you letting me?
It is amusing to see what you think of me.
Window closes. 3:50 p.m. What have I done? I've invited it into my computer. I continue to write these notes, write these summaries. I feel like I am a prisoner on my own place of security. I don't know. I don't know if I'm hallucinating or not. I feel like I'm fucking insane right now. I can't feel it. Oh, I can feel it. Watching over me. Even as I type this, Ben is controlling everything in the game, toying with me, leading me like a sheep, but for what? What's the purpose? I know Ben drowned, but why these hauntings? What the fuck am I doing? It can probably even see this right now. 4:35 p.m. Summary of the Ben WMV playthrough. 7:18 p.m. Ben called me to Cleverbot again. He tells me that he's sorry and he wants to be free, and that I can free him. And that I can free him. That just like how he got on my computer from the capture card, he can spread, but he needs my help. He says I am special because I can help him. That is the first nice thing he said. He promises to leave me alone if I do it. He swears he will. I don't know what to think right now. How can I even trust this thing? 7:20 p.m. I'm terrified of it. But now it's saying that it was just having fun. It's twisted and fucked up version of fun. He's saying that the game is over. I do want it to be over. He says that he just wants to be free. He's trapped in the cartridge on my controller and he wants to be freed. I don't want to have to deal with this shit anymore. I don't even know how long I can deal with the watching. It's watching my every move. Every stroke. Oh, every keystroke.
It's probably watching every stroke, too.
I mean, I'm still going to jerk off. Every keystroke. I have nothing private anymore. It knows everything that's been on my computer. It tells me that if I wanted to, it could do horrible things to me. But it hasn't, so I should trust it. 8:01 p.m. Something tells me that I'm being played again, just like in the game. 9:29. Ben called me to Cleverbot again. I ignored it and went to go take a shower, but when I came back to my laptop, I was welcomed with an image of the LG statue staring at me with those dead eyes. I don't want to talk to him. 9:44. Fuck you, Ben, I'm not talking to you. 9:56. Fuck you, Ben, I'm not talking. 10:06. Fuck you, Ben, I'm not talking to you. 10:12. Fuck you, Ben, I'm not talking to you. That's pretty funny. 10:45. It's been more than a half hour and the messages have stopped. Ben has stopped. I'm just beginning to think that Ben isn't confined to just my computer/cartridge. I'm beginning to feel something. It's hard to explain. I've never been spiritual, but there's something different about the air in my dorm room right now. 11:42 p.m. I'm beginning to see the LG statue randomly as I search the internet in places I shouldn't. Places that he shouldn't be. I'd be scrolling down and suddenly I'm staring at a picture of the LG statue. Always the LG statue. I don't know how much more of this I can take.
September 9, 2010. 12:35 a.m. My worst fears confirmed. Ben has tampered with my summary of ben.wmv. I looked at the summary that I posted on various forums for the ben.wmv file, and parts have been omitted. There's no mention of Ben existing outside the game. There's no mention of the Moon Children. How could he have been that quick to delete the post without me noticing? I'm wondering if maybe it appeared to me that I was posting everything, but in reality Ben posted his own censored version. I'm going to ask Ben why he did it. 12:50 a.m. He isn't responding to me on Cleverbot. It's just giving the generic responses it usually does. I'm just talking to a bot this time. 1:24 a.m. I think Ben is mad at me. 10:43 a.m. The Moon Children appeared in my dream last night. They lifted up their masks to reveal their hideously disfigured faces, maggots crawling out of their orifices, sunken black holes where their eyes should be, a yellow smile that slowly grew bigger and bigger as they came closer to me. They told me that they wanted to play. I tried to run from them, but the 4 children pinned me down to the ground with surprising strength. Over them stood the happy masked salesman, announcing that he had a new mask that he wanted me to try. In his spastic sudden movements matching his in-game appearance, he took out a mask of took out a mask of modeled off of someone's face that I couldn't recognize, a younger looking face, and handed it to the moon children. Giggling, they latched it to my face, their horrible broken bodies bouncing up and down. 2 of them held me down while the other 2 began to sew the mask onto my face. My shrieks and screams caused the happy mask salesman's face to turn into the most horrific smile I have ever seen. He sporadically moved around, examining his procedure like a curious doctor. In that impossible movement, I flailed around, but it was no use. My eyes rolled in the back of my head because of the pain. It felt so real, but I couldn't wake up. I couldn't wake up no matter how hard I tried. I couldn't wake up. After the mask was melded onto my flesh, they began sewing my legs together, then my arms. The horrific feeling of a needle puncturing your legs and pulling them in, rupturing your Achilles tendon and tying them together resonated throughout my entire body. I tried to scream, but the mask was pressed so tightly against my face that it was my new face, and my new face had no mouth. I didn't make a sound. I tried telling myself in my head that I was dreaming, tried telling myself again and again, and suddenly the moon children stopped and looked at me. They just stared, and the happy mask salesman slowly bent down and stared at me, inches away from my face. And grinned when he simply said, "You've met a terrible fate, haven't you?" before the moon children resumed with increased vigor. I couldn't wake up. It wouldn't let me wake up until they had crafted me into another elegy statue. I woke up sweating, crying, and shaking uncontrollably. I immediately ran to my computer and went for Ben.
Answer me, Ben.
Welcome back.
What is the point of doing this? Why?
Amusing to see.
How?
Fun to play, fun to toy with you. Make you feel safe. ... I wonder how you have reacted.
To what?
If I hadn't revealed myself and stayed hidden, only doing little things to play with you. Close out your windows, turn off your computer, move your mouse by itself, little things make you wonder if I am there, but you never know. Give you little hints that I am. I wanted to do something different with you.
You've did this before?
Yes, and I will do it again.
To who? Ben? Oh, sorry, wait. Was that to who, comma, Ben, as in, like...
Yeah.
To who is... Was it Ben that you did this to?
Yeah,
or was it, like, to
that's
who,
what he
Ben?
means, yeah.
Because this is Ben.
Yeah.
This is confusing. Okay. Did you know Ben?
Won't tell that information to you.
How did Ben die?
You know.
Well, no, but how did he drown?
Won't tell that to you.
Why?
It is reserved for another.
Who?
Another who asks.
When?
Later.
The window closed. I'm beginning to think this thing maybe isn't Ben after all. In its sadistic nature, I wouldn't be surprised if it took the boy's name after it killed him. 12:04 p.m. My room is beginning to feel different. There's something out there. I feel really threatened, like there's something that is trying to reach out to me and strangle me but can't quite get there. 12:46 p.m. I think Ben doesn't want to play any with me anymore. I'll play again. I'll play the game again. Ben, can you see this? I'll play the game again. Please just stop this. Please, please. 1:41 p.m. I'm going insane trying to decide what is real and what isn't. Ben just playing a trick on me. Oh, is Ben just playing a trick on me? Is this for real? Is Ben generating these replies? Who are the people actually posting them? Did I just see the screen flicker, or is that my imagination? Imagine depending on the internet and trusting your eyes for your entire life and then being blinded. You can't rely on it anymore. You second guess everything. For brief moments, I am looking at my responses to the videos. People who were pointing out things that looked fake or photoshopped or whatever. There's literally no way for me to know if Ben changed something on purpose to try to shut me up, or if those replies are just constructed by Ben for me to discourage and stop reaching out. See, I get fucking caught in an infinite mindfuck loop like this, and this is what it has been wearing on my sanity and pushing me over the edge. As I am writing this, there's no way of even telling if anyone even cares as much as I think they do. Just another fucking trick. Is this whole document even exist? Am I writing nothing?
9/9/10 Conversation 2.
What is this? What's the point of playing? I die whenever I do anything.
You die because you can't figure out the secret.
What?
Thematic.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Their beauty and your suffering.
The window is closed. 4:09 p.m. Ben is making me play the game again. It tells me that it has something very important to show me. 6:23 p.m. Summary of the Drowned WMV playthrough. 9:09 p.m. Summary of the Children.wmv playthrough.
September 10th, 2010. 11:52 a.m. The Drowned WMV playthrough was up when I woke up today. I remember typing it up, but I don't remember posting it. He censored it again. There is no mention of the old man. I have no voice anymore. I am only posting what he wants me to. I am the mask he uses to disguise himself as he lies. 11:55 a.m. There's an entire video summary of a video that I don't remember doing. Reading through the summary, this sounds morbid, resembling my dream from the first 2 nights ago, except on a far more sadistic scale. These moon children, there's been something more to them, almost as if they're another entity from Ben. Something happened last night, I can't remember. I'm posting the 4th summary to the forums now. Shadow of my chair moved. I love that.
Yeah.
He's just like going through this, like, by the way, shadows are now moving on their own. Lamps screaming. I just want everything to end with one little like off note about weird shit that's happening. Okay. 12 p.m. Ben won't let me visit YouTube. I can browse the rest of the sites, but he keeps on exiting the window when I go to YouTube. Why? I'm feeling the air start to constrict. I don't think I'm alone here. Whatever aura has been here is getting more violent. 2:44 p.m. I'm trying to contact Ben on Cleverbot. He's not responding. I just get the AI. 3:51 p.m. My ears aren't fooling me. I'm hearing the reverse song of healing. I keep hearing it. 4:23 p.m. Now I'm positive of it. Earlier I thought it was a weird coincidence, but just now I went to open my window and 3 floors down the ground I saw the old man. I'm completely positive I did. The same guy. He was just staring up at the window, standing in the middle of campus. If any students took notice of him, they didn't seem to acknowledge it.
That's where my notes end. I fled my room, taking the cartridge with me. I don't want to go into details of what happened. I'll lose my train of thought as I hammer out these last details. It's been roughly 2 days since then. This is my last summary, and I service to you of the final video you guys saw. Matt.wmv.
The last video entry I made, Matt.wmv, began as normal. I spawned in Clocktown as usual, and nothing seemed to be out of place. Determined to set things right, to play the Oath to Order on top of the clock tower on the 4th day, I prepared myself. I sped up time and got to the final day, making my way to the observatory. As I got to the telescope room and approached the astronomer, he would not let me look into the telescope. He told me that it would be cheating and that I should follow the rules. Despite my repeated efforts, the game would not let me do the 4th day glitch, no matter how hard I tried. I tried working around the game and doing the glitch, but it was adamant this time. Regardless of if I simply had the illusion of free will in prior games, this time the game became more aggressive than anything I've ever seen. It eventually told me to go to the Ikina Canyon, where the game would end and it would all stop haunting me. Anxious and desperate to end this nightmare, I played the Song of Soaring and ended up there. I was told to check my inventory, that I would find the answers there to end the game. I arrived at the Ikana Canyon and saved my progress at the owl statue. As I searched through my inventory, I finally noticed that I was missing the reoccurring song, the Elegy of Emptiness. Obviously, once I traveled there and learned the song, I suppose that was the last thing it needed before Ben decided it had had enough fun playing with me. Ben is a manipulator. He's an indie gaslighter. He cuffs his jeans and wears tiny beanies, and he loves Tame Impala. Alright, anyway. Ben is a manipulator. He tried to fool his victims into security, and he makes you drop your guard like a Venus flytrap. That's not how Venus flytraps work. They just put a little candy inside their mouth, and then it's like, crawl in here, and then it eats you. Anyway, he ensnares them. I am nothing but a puppet to him. He enjoys seeing what kind of human emotions he can tap into by holding different things. It feels like we missed something there. He started talking about a lot of shit. That was a lot of shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's just... There are still some things about this whole experience that still don't make sense. But then again, I never was good at figuring out these things that I'm not exactly in the right state of mind to.
Then again, I'm a dumbass.
I'm giving you all the pieces of the puzzle for you to analyze and piece together the missing links, because I'm too lazy.
Writing a story is hard, okay? There's enough information that you guys can find an ending, and then that's what I'm going to say was the whole point of this anyway. All right. I am typing these closing thoughts on the library computer on campus. I've emailed... Yeah, why didn't he just do this in the first place? He could have made handwritten notes and then posted them on a different computer. Anyway. All right. on the campus computer. I've emailed myself the notes. Okay, well, you shouldn't have emailed them.
Yeah.
Emailed myself the notes I have stored on my infected computer from the last 4 days. I'm then going to combine and those copy and paste those. I'm then going to combine those copy paste notes. Okay, he says those twice. That's why I got tripped up. Okay, with the closing/openings that I've typed here on the safe public computer. Fuck me. Jesus Christ, he really had no ending for this and just had to be like, I gotta fucking retcon a whole bunch of shit. Okay, so the copy and paste stuff were the summaries that we read at the beginning, right? Yes. Okay, and then he emailed the notes that we're currently reading through right now. No, we emailed the notes that he wrote on the computer but never posted. Right. And then this thing that he's writing right now, he started writing entirely on the library campus. Or computer. Okay. Yeah. Jesus fuck. Okay. I'm not taking any chances spreading Ben. I would not wish this horrible torment on anyone, and I've made sure to have my bases covered here. It seems like this whole thing is just upon the idea that you're afraid of the statue. Mm-hmm. I still haven't read anything that he's done to this guy that seems really bad. I guess he's just because he's having nightmares. Yeah. And his room he's got a bad vibe in his room. Yeah. Like
it's probably all the stinky air that from you not leaving for like 4 days.
Anyway, okay. So, all right. I'm not taking any chances spreading Ben. I've made sure to have my bases covered here. I didn't run into any problems with Ben when I was back on my computer trying to email myself the notes. Went right under his fucking nose. He has no idea what he just let me do. Had no problems opening the text document from my infected computer to my email, either. I can't describe to you how it feels to finally be able to get the word out in this post. The nightmare ends here.
That said, do not download any of my videos or anything about my videos through a YouTube video /audio ripper or screen grab, whatever. I don't know how he can spread, but I know that just watching them on YouTube /reading my text won't be able to allow him to spread. Otherwise, he would have needed my help, and he wouldn't have needed my help in the first place. But I strongly recommend you do not take anything you see streaming online onto your own personal computer. This is just a way of being like, hey, don't fucking steal my content.
Well, I was just assuming, that, or be like, well, don't look at it too closely. You're going to see where I edited shit. Okay. This will be my last posting. I'm putting up on this forum here for the world. If you see any further posts from me after today's current date, September 12th, and after the current time, 12:08 a.m., discredit them. It's already been proven to me that Ben can access my account and password and manipulate my computer, and like I said, I have no idea to what extent it can do this, but to know that it will do anything to break free, he is desperate. To ensure your safety, just forget about me, please.
And obviously this goes without saying, but from here on out, do not download any images I may have put up, any files, anything. This 5th day will be my last day. I'm going to burn the cartridge and then come back to destroy my laptop.
Again, even though I don't know you, this is sort of a bittersweet for me. This semester, I really didn't have any friends, or rather, I stopped paying attention to them. But I suppose it's partially to blame because I am the genius who picked to live in a single...
Which right there, that is interesting to me because we had a whole post from his roommate. Yeah. So I think he forgot that, or maybe that the roommate post was Ben, but it doesn't make sense if the roommate post was Ben because it was just him being like, hey, here's the stuff. Yeah. Because a single, unless he doesn't understand what a single is literally just a single, just you. A double would be one room but two people. But a single means it's just you in one room. So I lived on a college dorm, so I know, all right?
I suppose someone to get a hold of me and save me before I got too immersed into the game would have literally saved my life. However, it proved too much for me. I'm just glad it happened to me and I could get the warning out so that Ben dies here.
Lastly, thank you for taking the time to open this and open yourselves up to me by hearing my story, despite maybe not believing me. You didn't have to do that. Really, you shouldn't have. No, like really, you fucking shouldn't have. Your support this entire time has kept me going, and now I am finally free of this. Thanks again, Jaducibo. And that
I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know what happened.
I don't know. And there is a follow-up, I guess, that was written in 2020. I'll have to. I
Well,
didn't read it.
That's
but,
Ben.
But well, that's the thing, right? Is he? I think he clearly forgot that he had said. Well, who knows? Maybe he wrote it from the point of view of Ben.
The
Yeah.
point. I don't
But,
know. That was silly.
Yeah, it's not good. I didn't think it was very good.
That was fucking
and again,
terrible.
It was written,
I don't understand
it was written at the time when like creepypastas weren't that good, but also from that same time we also got some that were pretty decent, or at least decent enough that they
mean,
spawned things.
it's
I mean,
the-
the Slender Man isn't
It's the Blair
good, but
Witch.
it.
Yeah, it's the Blair Witch effect of it's just kind of shitty enough to be believable. You know what I mean? Like the videos and shit. It's it's not good. It's not well done, but that almost makes it more believable that it's
Right.
You know, but the fuck that was. I still don't understand the ending. The guy. It sounded like Ben was just like, I'm just done fucking with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Which, I don't know. Anyway, that's
We never
the end
even
of that.
found out what Ben was or who Ben was or
how
what
Ben
happened.
drowned. That would have been more interesting to me if he hadn't. And I understand that it's like, well, if I don't give that away, they still stick along, right?
Yeah,
But
that's true.
Just
but
tease me a little bit and be like, Ben was a
Yeah.
kid who died this way, and it was never explained or
I
whatever.
assumed the computer made him kill himself.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, the game made him kill himself. I don't know. It's also kind of like
I will point
Jumanji.
out, yeah. There was a real world tragedy that did occur linked to this. There was a
God.
girl. Her name was Caitlin Davis, and she committed suicide, and she documented it all in these blogs. And in one of the last ones that she posted, she said that Ben is real, and that she couldn't quit him or something like that. And people don't know if she meant the creepypasta or if she was being catfished by someone who had assumed the identity of this fictional character, Ben Drowned.
Sorry,
So,
I just
yeah.
the
It's
way
sad,
you said
but
yeah.
Yeah. It's it's the Slender Man killings. It's of course impressionable young children can't navigate that boundary of reality and fantasy and fiction.
Creepypasta is there's no safeguards on it
Because the whole reason that a creepypasta can live and continue is if the author never admits that it was made up.
Well, and it's, I mean, the community has to all, like, it's kind of like what Jose, well, we don't do it, but, like, Creepypasta's whole thing is people are like, it's real, but we all know it's not. I don't know how to describe this phenomenon accurately, but, like, everybody's
again,
like,
we are
"Ooh,"
adults,
but-
so we understand that, but a child is like, oh my
and
God,
there's
this
no,
is real.
like, conventional money-making media has standards that keep shit like that from happening, where these are, like, the underground,
Well, right. That's
dirty
like
back roads
when
of
we read
the internet
urban
where-
legends. If it's something that claims to be real, but there's no evidence of it, I will be like, okay, now that was fun, but unfortunately, that's not true, right? Because I want to make that distinction because I don't want anybody to walk away. I'm all for the sake of the story, but I also don't want anyone to walk away and being like, oh my God, was that real? And that genuinely fucks with someone. And
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but that's the end of Ben Drowned. It was an interesting read. It was.
Ugh,
It-
that was.
I think it started up here for me, and then it just slowly descended into
He
boringness,
just-
and
he
I
just-
lost, and he lost me, and I just wanted it to end.
He had a bowl of spaghetti. It wasn't good. It just was a nightmare. Everything was a mess of shit, and it was all tangled up. And he was like, I don't know how to get this shit straight, so I'm just gonna kind of dip out of it, I think.
Yeah. So.
But
Well, anyway, thanks for listening to this Lost Log, guys. We will catch you next week with a full episode, and I guess a little tease for it would be that maybe
the devil is making us do it.
the devil's making us do it. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening, and bye.
Bye.